Hello there. Episode 75 Sasuke's Decision Pushed to the Edge. As always, Naruto's titles are rather straightforward. Sasuke's back is against the wall, and he's going to have to make a big decision in order to survive. It won't take us long to discover what exactly that decision is either, since the episode opens with the bloodlusted Gaara taunting Sasuke for hiding.
Are you shocked by my true form? Come out, Sasuke Uchiha!
Sasuke doesn't necessarily have a lot of options here. He's running low on chakra while Gaara is doing just fine thanks to Shikaku. With his options cut short, Sasuke attempts to throw Gaara off with a substitution jutsu, which probably would have worked better had he not done this.
Guess again!
Why on God's green earth would you announce your location? He was doing really good up until that point. If Sasuke didn't say anything, there's a chance one of the kunai would have hit one of Gaara's vital points, which would have netted Sasuke the W. Instead, he yells out, which allows Gaara to block the kunai, then fire them back with much more ferocity. The kunai connect with Sasuke, which reveals it to just be a shadow clone. Since Sasuke didn't take any damage, he really didn't lose anything except for the enormous amount of chakra that it takes to create a shadow clone. So actually, now that I think about it, he lost a lot considering he's already at a chakra deficit. Now, story-wise, it makes sense why he would do a low-risk tactic like that, but still, it's just not very tactical. He clearly can't just run out at Gaara since Gaara has the strength and speed advantage. Sasuke's tactics also gives more credence to the episode's title since we're shown Sasuke exhaust his options before he finally gets pushed to the edge. The manga doesn't show Sasuke doing anything extra, but let's be real, Sasuke is in a horrible situation regardless of him throwing a few kunai or not, so the difference is minimal. After easily thwarting Sasuke's plan, Gaara starts to have another episode. This time we're shown Kid Gaara swinging by himself while a bunch of other kids play soccer. One of the kids accidentally kicks the soccer ball to the top of a cliff, which causes all the kids to look in despair. Gaara, being in the area, uses his sand manipulation to retrieve the ball for the kid. They all attempt to skedaddle, even though Gaara clearly came in peace. The kids attempting to run hurt Gaara's feelings, so he uses his sand manipulation to innocently relocate two of the kids as he thinks this.
Please. I don't want to be alone anymore.
Gaara then gets more aggressive and starts to hurt the kids. He lobs a big sand attack at the girl, which is blocked by Yashimaru. The scene cuts to behind Yashimaru, which shows all of the other kids got bodied as well. Shiryu Opera didn't show the other kids get grabbed too, but apparently they did, so unlucky I guess. We don't know exactly how powerful Gaara or Yashimaru are, but we can safely assume since Yashimaru was easily harmed by Gaara's attack that Gaara is stronger than him. Although I'm not sure how the girl didn't get crushed like the other kids, but whatever I guess. Something else I want to point out before we move on is we finally get another piece of the puzzle. All of this time we've been operating off of hints given to us throughout segments of the story to figure out exactly how Gaara came to be. In episode 50, it's clear that Guy saving Lee triggered some sort of trauma within Gaara, but we aren't given enough information to leap to a conclusion. With the information that we have, we'd have to catapult ourselves over a wall and hope we landed somewhere close enough to the right answer. Going off of the additional backstory given to us by the anime, it's evident that Gaara wasn't always evil. He didn't always desire blood. There was a point in time that he was a lonely, innocent child that wanted nothing more than to have a few friends and to be loved, much like someone else we know. After Gaara's flashback, we're taken back to him frantically searching for Sasuke. During his search, Gaara casually flies through a few trees, then turns around to admire his work. It's then that Sasuke concludes that he doesn't stand a chance in hand-to-hand combat. Sasuke then recalls a conversation that he had with Gaara in the past during his training with Kakashi. In that conversation, Gaara revealed to Sasuke that the reason he's so interested in him is he has the same vengeance-seeking eyes that he does. From his eyes, Gaara surmises that he and Sasuke are the same. That's when Kakashi interjects.
Seems you can read a lot in Sasuke's eyes. Be careful. You may not be able to read him as well as you think.
In my humble opinion, Both are right. Gaara is right because Sasuke does have vengeance in his eyes. His sole purpose of getting stronger is to right his brother's wrong. Kakashi is right because, unlike Gaara, vengeance and proving his worth by killing others isn't Sasuke's only motivation, nor is it his Nendo. Sasuke isn't a heartless monster. He cares about others, which is why he wants to defeat his brother, not for self-gratification, but to avenge his fallen clan members. After all, he's
An Avenger!
returning to the anime. Gaara tells Sasuke that when they have their tournament match, he doesn't want either party to hold back. Instead, he wants it to be a fight to the death in order to confirm the value of their existences. Sasuke is completely thrown off by Gaara's request, so much so that he doesn't even respond. In fact, all he does is intensely stare at Gaara. Kakashi, being the good sensei that he is, respects the 1v1 stare-off and immediately begins to referee their match.
What's wrong? Sasuke Uchiha? Are you really so afraid of me?
There's something about this scene that I really like. I think what I like about it so much is how well the scene contrasts Sasuke versus his earlier self. At the beginning of their fight, Sasuke was portrayed to be him. He always had a card up his sleeve, and he is so sure that he could defeat Gaara as well as conquer Otamari if he had to. That's classic Sasuke. Strong, confident, tactical, and driven by purpose. Here we see a much different Sasuke. Those characteristics that we use to define Sasuke are no longer relevant. He loses his strength because Gaara severely outclasses him. Sasuke losing that attribute made his confidence crumble, which ultimately crippled the persona that we know to be Sasuke. Gaara realizes that too. When he peered into Sasuke's soul while in the mountain range, his intuition was spot on. That's what makes Gaara's taunting so effective. Sasuke has effectively lost his purpose, so Gaara yelling,
What's wrong? Sasuke Uchiha? Are you really so afraid of me?
definitely hit a nerve. If we break down Gaara's lines into what's wrong and Sasuke Uchiha, we get a compact version of what I just said. If you don't see it, let me explain. Let's start with what's wrong. On a surface level, we can gather that Sasuke is deviating from his normal behavior. The question then would be how. Sasuke is currently hiding, which isn't a display of strength. Being stealthy and deceptive is all fine and dandy, but we all know that that's not what Sasuke is doing here. He's hiding because he's afraid and he doesn't know what to do. The fire is gone, which is a huge issue given that he's an Uchiha. But not just any Uchiha, one of the last two Uchiha. He's the Avenger. That leads me to my second point. Gaara may not know Sasuke's backstory, but surely he knows about the Uchiha. He knows that Sasuke has Uchiha pride. Sasuke's pride is yet another attribute that is absent, and Gaara calls that out. Gaara doesn't even mention Sasuke's name in the manga, which means Studio Pierrot added that line because they thought it would enhance the story. After Gaara asks Sasuke if he's really that afraid of him, we're shown Sasuke looking, well, you can see for yourself. He looks very defeated and puzzled. Next, Gaara says, has all your hatred and sense of purpose dwindled down to this abject fear? Is this the existence you live now? That of a coward? I don't think I need to break those lines down since all Gaara is doing is playing off of my original analysis. Nonetheless, he's still doing an excellent job at taunting Sasuke. His words may be hyperbolic, but they're still right on the money. Sasuke's face says it all. Finally, Gaara says,
Come out and fight me. Show me that I'm wrong. Prove that your existence is stronger than mine. You'll never know unless you fight me. You'll never feel it. Attack!
With that said, Gaara successively speaks to one of the attributes of Sasuke's that I mentioned earlier. Although Sasuke didn't react until Gaara challenged his pride and his strength, it's Sasuke's desire to cling onto his purpose that reignites his flame. We see that from the brief image of his older brother looking back at him, accompanied by Sasuke narrating, "He killed everyone but me. I was the only one allowed to live."
For what reason? No, I know the reason. He had to leave one alive to spare himself the guilt of having exterminated an entire clan.
By sparing me, Itachi chose me to be the avenger of the clan. He chose me to be the one to kill him. Alright, there is a lot to unpack here, so I'm going to take it step by step and weave in the manga. First and foremost, Sasuke wasn't asking a rhetorical question when he said,
I was the only one allowed to live. For what reason?
I'm sure Sasuke has asked himself that same question thousands of times. It's at this point, though, that Sasuke decides on the reason he's alive. Sasuke finally says, no. Every other reason that I came up with to rationalize what happened is invalid. I'm not an Avenger because of circumstance, nor am I an Avenger because I randomly decided to be. I am an Avenger because I was chosen. And as the elect, I must survive. That's when we see the first parallel between Sasuke and Itachi. It's quite the contrast when you place the images side by side. Itachi's face has darkness on it which hides some of his facial features and makes the red of his Sharingan pop. We can also see that Itachi's Sharingan is at a stage higher than Sasuke's. You can tell because he has 3 Tomo, those little images there, and Sasuke only has 2. Itachi being shrouded in darkness is great symbolism for his evil nature. While we can't see his full face, it's clear that Itachi isn't smiling at Sasuke. Despite the darkness, you can see the hatred on Itachi's face. The theme of hatred is important, so hold on to that for, the rest of the series if I'm being frank. Upon analyzing Sasuke's face, we can see the exact same emotion present, hatred, except there is a stark difference. While you can argue that hatred is hatred, I think it's important to point out that Itachi's hatred is rooted in darkness, while Sasuke's hatred is rooted in the light. While hatred is a negative emotion, Sasuke doesn't hate Itachi for the sake of hating him or any other arbitrary reason. He hates Itachi for the evil he has done and seeks retribution. The fact that Sasuke's face is illuminated by his Chidori when the anime makes the parallel gives credit to my interpretation. Another important thing to note is that Sasuke's hate is fueled by and directed towards Itachi until someone, such as Gaara, gets in his way. What we see here from Sasuke is him finally directing that hatred towards Gaara. Continuing with the anime, Gaara becomes aware of Sasuke's position because, as I've stated in the past, the Chidori is the worst assassination jutsu in Naruto. No. The worst assassination ability in anime, period. We don't get to see what happens just yet since we're taken back to Hiruzen versus Orochimaru. Their tug-of-war match remains locked in a stalemate due to neither side wanting to concede any ground. I'm not entirely sure why we had to go back to their fight because it only lasted a few seconds and we learned nothing new. But, whatever, I guess. Let's just get back to the real action. Yeah, that's pretty much what I expected. While Gaara's strength has increased significantly, his durability hasn't. Sasuke landing on a tree and looking back at Gaara is the second parallel between him and Itachi. Once again, I'll put the two side by side so you can see what I mean. There's no way drawing Sasuke like that was an accident, especially after showing the same image of Itachi twice. So that leaves me wondering why. What's the point? The only thing we know about Itachi right now is that he killed most of his clan. Without knowing anything else about him, what characteristics does Sasuke share with Itachi? We can cross off being an Avenger for obvious reasons. Given that Itachi murdered his entire clan, he must be powerful, and with power comes pride. Considering Itachi slaughtered the whole village, he can't be dim-witted. That makes Itachi powerful, prideful, and tactical, just like Sasuke. It's also possible showing the parallel between the two is meant to foreshadow Sasuke's future, but only time will tell. Naturally, Gaara doesn't die from Sasuke's Chidori. Instead, he goes. Which, fair enough. I'd probably do the same if I survived 2 Chidoris. Next, Temari proclaims her amazement at Sasuke's ability to contend with Gaara, despite his circumstances. Gaara then expands on that notion, exclaiming how satisfying it will be to defeat an opponent who wounded him so badly. That's when Tomari thinks this.
No one has ever wounded Gaara, and he's done it twice. He's a freak of nature, like Gaara.
Knowing how utterly afraid everyone is of Gaara due to his monstrous nature, Tomari deeming Sasuke befitting of the title Freak of Nature, a title that she also attributes to Gaara, means a lot. Up to this point, Gaara has been in a tier of his own. Now Sasuke, one of the last two Uchiha, the self-proclaimed Avenger, now accompanies Gaara in that tier. Now that I think about it, perhaps that was what Studio Parrot was going for when they made the parallels between Sasuke and Itachi. Itachi was a freak of nature. He'd have to be one if he slaughtered his whole clan and left only his younger brother alive. Even though Sasuke is still only a genin, he's already a freak of nature in his own right. Anyway, Gaara hits Sasuke with a, "This isn't even my final form," and transforms into what I like to call Charger Stage 2. I call the first form Charger Stage 1 because if you ever played Left 4 Dead, you've definitely seen one of these things running around. I'm sure you can see how I came up with the name, even if you haven't played Left 4 Dead. Immediately after transforming, Gaara slingshots himself towards Sasuke, and as Sasuke notes, Gaara is much faster than he was previously. It's only because Sasuke's Sharingan that he was able to evade Gaara's attacks. I just want you guys to keep that in mind for something that's about to happen later. Anyway, since Sasuke is just about out of chakra, he decides to use his fireball jutsu instead of the Chidori. Unfortunately for Sasuke, Gaara takes 0 damage from it, and as Sasuke notes,
Didn't even slow him down.
with his back against the tree, Sasuke comes to the conclusion that it's Chidori or nothing. We're then taken to a flashback of he and Kakashi training. Kakashi tells Sasuke that his limit is 2 Chidoris a day. Sasuke already used one during the tournament and another just now. Kakashi also tells Sasuke that trying to use the Chidori more than twice at best won't work. At worst, he'll die. Kakashi also notes that even if Sasuke doesn't die, his body won't be in good condition. That especially applies to Sasuke due to the curse mark on his neck. With the flashback over, Gaara begins taunting Sasuke. Gaara calls into question Sasuke's life and his purpose. He goes so far as to call him pathetic. There's one line that really strikes a nerve in Sasuke. That line is when Gaara calls Sasuke's hatred weak. As mentioned earlier, Sasuke's hatred is a core element of his character. Gaara doesn't just stop there though. He continues on to lecture Sasuke on hatred.
The greater the hunger for revenge, the greater the hate. And it's the power of hate that gives you the strength to kill.
That's when Sasuke's flame is reignited. Studio Parrot made an excellent call when they decided to have Sasuke's final flashback of Itachi be a fiery one. Not only does fire often symbolize anger, aggression, and ferocity, it's also the chosen nature of the Uchiha clan. I don't believe this has been explained yet, but every ninja has one chakra nature they are capable of using from birth. If an Uchiha's nature is in fire, they must train to become proficient with fire jutsu. That's part of the reason why the Uchiha were so powerful, but that's a story for a different time. Anyway, Sasuke and Itachi are connected not only by blood, but by the ferocity of their flames. The background being white makes me feel like their flames are burning so brightly that all Sasuke can see are them. In that instance, nothing else matters. Sasuke's angry and he is powering up. The manga takes a different approach and chooses blue, which is a much colder tone. I don't know about y'all, but I don't feel any anger or animosity coming from Sasuke. He looks more defeated, more sad, hopeless even. Adding the ellipses doesn't help either. Circling back to the anime, you can hear the fire in Sasuke's voice and the second shut up.
Your hate is weaker than mine, far weaker.
Shut up.
You know what that means, don't you?
Just shut up!
That second shut up is unique to the anime, and I think it was a great addition. Gaara doesn't listen to Sasuke though, and he keeps yapping instead. This is where the anime absolutely dunks on the manga. Maybe I should keep a counter for each episode so we can keep track of the W's and the L's of the manga. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in, leave a comment. Anyway, I'll start with the manga first. The manga has Sasuke stand up quickly after telling Gaara to shut up. There's no dramatic dramatic build-up or anything like that. Sasuke says shut up, then whips out his third Chidori. I mean, sure it works, but the anime's rendition of the scene is, well, much more anime-like. Let me explain. As I previously showed you, anime Sasuke angrily yells shut up after softly saying the first one. Gaara then proceeds to call Sasuke weak, just like the manga. The difference is manga Sasuke already had his Chidori out while anime Sasuke is hyping himself up.
There's a reason Itachi let me live. A reason he chose me to be the one to track him down and kill him. I am an Avenger!
Tell me that's not better. No. Go ahead. Tell me. I'll wait. Change my mind. Sasuke is supposed to be out of chakra at this point, so him having to have an anime surpassing of limits moment makes sense and is absolutely beautiful. You love to see it. I love to see it. We all love to see it. After activating his Chidori, Sasuke and Gaara have one last clash. Before reaching Gaara, Sasuke winces and his Chidori becomes noticeably smaller. Despite the nerf, Sasuke was still able to cut through Gaara's sand arm. It's then revealed that the only reason why Sasuke was able to continue is because of the curse mark. The consequence of Sasuke's decision is he's now paralyzed by the curse mark once again. This time, however, his teammates aren't around to... Oh, no, never mind. Team 7 made it right on time for Naruto to save Sasuke with his signature dab kick. Nice. Naruto and Gaara have a stare-off only befitting of an anime, then the credits roll. Before you roll on out of here, be sure to like the video as it helps the channel enormously. Deuces.